Anyway, moving along. Couple other things this week. Since I had a chance to do some solo streaming, popped in the Invincible Versus beta. So that
Yo,
happened.
that game looks like trash, dude.
Man.
That game looks like trash. I
So
watched a good bit of your show, and I checked out Diaphane's breakdown of it, where
Diaphone.
he's like, here's how every character can do a touch of death.
Yeah.
And how Omni-Man has like a fully safe on block invincible reversal on frame 0.
So
it's all this fucking
okay.
Kusoge nonsense.
So mechanically and stuff, because the deal is that like everyone that has a touch of death, you can break anything in the game, but you just have to not get called out for it, right? But excuse me, to go back to the beginning on it, like I really like Invincible. I think I had a good time with the show. I love KI and the team. They made a great good ass fighting game. And everything coming together here, it's just like apparently the creator of Invincible was the one who specifically said, I want to make this a fighting game.
Yeah, Kirkman wanted a fighting game.
Which is like, oh, you picked that yourself? Well, then I can't even I can't say anything. Like I'm like, you wanted that for your idea, for your IP, so be it. You're allowed to do that. And that's cool. I like the fact
I'll disagree with that.
I think that like basically I'm like it's more than just, hey, someone picked this and it wasn't a good fit. I feel more like if the creator chose that, then it I'm like, all right. I feel more.
Then it's on him.
Sure. But I give it more leeway because it doesn't feel like someone misusing things or whatever the case is. It's like you yourself picked it, right? And here's the thing is too, like the flying brick problem that we talk about of like the characters are all like very samey with their costumes and their movesets, is it's there, but I realized that like that doesn't have to be the end of it, in the sense that like Dragon Ball Fighters, you know, has a lot of martial artists that have a ton of inspiration from the manga, but you can do a lot with how you design their movesets and what you do with them to make it more interesting and unique for each character.
And did they do that?
What's a bigger problem is actually the fact that the animation itself is very stiff, right? And there's a lot of attacks that feel like they have no like tweening to them. It's just a lot of snapping into the final keyframe, whether it's an uppercut, a left hook, or a right hook. There's a lot of characters doing this kind of like chest out pose, a left hook, a right hook, and occasionally one of these, and it kind of snaps into that, right? And like I know that like NetherRealm games are like the comparison point for like, yeah, it's like NRS style animation. NetherRealm has like these their shitty awkward kicks and stuff. This doesn't have that going, but it does just have a lot of like not smooth moments when you're going from normals to specials to supers, etc. It just feels like you're snapping one frame into one frame a lot of the time.
It really looks like a old style 2D fighting game that doesn't have enough keyframes for its punches and kicks.
And the thing is that like in terms of how it looks visually outside of that animation, I'm super willing to give like a lot of leeway, in the sense that Power Rangers Battle for the Grid is not an amazing looking fighting game, but it looks fine, you know? It's clearly like not a super high budget one, but everything that's animated is animated great. It's moving in a way that doesn't look too stiff. Everything's smooth, and there's a lot of cool shit happening between the characters, and you know, their power slashes and swords pulling out their weapons, whether it's the all the different ranger weapons and the summons of the swords and stuff. They got style, you know, they move around and do things. And that could have been a thing where it was stiff because you have a bunch of characters all in their ranger outfits, you know, with their weapons kind of doing, you know, you could have had the exact same problem there, but instead you didn't. And they made the game flow and made the animation flow in a way where it doesn't feel stiff. So this has that problem up front, and it's always going to be the case that like it bugs me to look at. Right.
It also, it looks really, I'm watching like Max's stream right now, right? And it looks like when characters tag in and combos are happening, everyone is overlapped. and all of their effects are overlapped onto each other. That makes it look really messy.
So tag games have this thing of like
Obviously,
screen
yeah.
clutter, and thus it makes silhouettes of the shapes of the characters very important. It makes colors very important, and it makes like
But they're all
energy outlines
more or less the same silhouette.
and it makes colored outlines very important too. 2XKO, Dragon Ball, a couple of these games do things to try to make it more visual. But here, yeah, you have a lot of characters in Viltrumite outfits that kind of slam into each other and look very similar. So you have that clutter issue for sure. But here's what I'll say is I was also kind of trying to figure out the gameplay a bit, moving around, and I was like, this is a little bit slow. I'm not quite getting the movement. It's not feeling as snappy as I kind of want it to. And then Max showed up and went, yo, okay, go into training mode right now. Okay, you're using Alan? Pick Alan. All right, I want you to jump and press dash and the meter burn button. And I did. And he opened my eyes to an aspect of this game that I couldn't figure out beforehand, which is movement, and the way this feels to play is there, but it costs resources. So it's like drive meter essentially.
Yeah, it's boost, I think.
And you press the boost, yeah. So you start moving around with boost, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh shit, like you can go. You can do a lot of fast, crazy things, and it actually like for the flying characters, it opens the game up massively, you know? And like, yeah, basically Max was just like, free your mind, you know? Like, here, take this tip. And I didn't realize that that was there. And it made it feel a lot better to do that. You basically had the characters who could fly able to do a lot of airborne stuff, and then the ones who are on the ground could do more of it on the floor, but like they're more limited because they're heavier, big bodies and stuff, you know? So that was a big moment that kind of opened things up for me. And then he also showed me 2 or 3 other little tricks. Like there's the way combos work is you can do like, you know, a very easy standard stronger buttons, you know, you do a light into a medium and medium to a heavy, all that stuff. You have a standard progression, etc. But it also has a killer instinct style combo system where you can do like a punch into a Hadoken, back into a punch, back into a Hadoken, and like it can do like you can essentially do what amounts to like a killer instinct combo. It has a lot of freedom in terms of how you can extend things. And when you use meter in the middle of the combo, or use your assists, or tag out, or whatever, use the mechanics, it takes the limitation that would force the combo to end sooner, and it lets you extend it and do more with it. So I'm like, oh, okay, so if you use the mechanics and use this meter system a lot and stuff, you can move a lot faster, you can do more stylish combos, you can kind of improvise and do things in a much more open-ended way, gameplay-wise, right? And then the other way they kind of, the things you talked about, like touch of death and stuff, like what they allowed to happen is you can do crazy, wild, tag into each other forever ass fucking combos. But if the person if you're on defense, you can do a combo breaker by calling in your partner to break you out of whatever you're getting hit by. So you have this KI kind of system where calling in an assist leads to the person who's doing the combo potentially anticipating that and trying to break it in advance. And so you have a nice little mind game to the way things are working there. It's very much like, what if they made a KI team game? You know, how would their whole design philosophy expand into having multiple characters on screen? So I was like, I understand now. And he kind of, from just those little things, I saw, okay, there's some cool stuff here. And if you like the KI sort of combo system, and you know, the whole like some of the even the way that meter works in Street Fighter 6, where you've got drive that lets you move, or drive that lets you do EXs and stuff like that. This is kind of like that too. So I, towards the end, after kind of like learning about that and going and playing a bit more and testing it out, I was like, okay, there's some pretty fun stuff happening here mechanically, but it's like the visuals are still the visuals, you know? And I thought to myself too in advance that I'm like, the guys who made KI know how to make a good ass fighting game. I don't have any doubt in my mind that the fun is not gonna be there, because like fucking Hunter x Hunter, Nen Impact, it's like, Yeah, guys, who knows, right? That's up in the air, right? There's been some misses there. Here, they know what they're doing, and when I started hearing from people like that are like, yeah, gameplay wise, this is super sick, but you have this visual issue as well as the characters not being distinct enough from each other. That's gonna unfortunately always be what people have to get through to get to this gameplay part that I'm talking about. But I'm happy to know that that's there, as opposed to like visually it's there, it's not interesting to me, and also the gameplay was lame, you know.
This doesn't look anywhere near as fun to play as Killer Instinct.
It's
like
I'm gonna have to, well,
like balance is obviously a part of it, right? So like when I beseech the sage Diaphanes on the mountain, and their proclamation from Olympus is that this game has the most broken shit. It's like an N impact level of broken shit.
Diapahone.
What's that?
Diapahone.
No, maybe. I will never pronounce their name correctly, but
How do you pronounce an underscore?
I don't know.
Yeah.
And but I'll take your word for it, right? Like it's sick to play, and like there's all this cool tech in it, and like it's fun to play.
I need to see the full final version, but there's interesting ideas.
But like let's say like
there's interesting ideas.
Like good game to play. Like I'm hearing like, hey, do you want to play a game that's as fun to play as Killer Instinct with shittier graphics and a much more boring roster? Because like I have no love for, I don't know anything about Invincible. I see like clips on TikTok of like the aura farming bits from fucking teenagers or whatever the fuck. Like 60% of that universe is Supermen. Like 70%.
Yeah, capes, heroes in tights. Totally.
Like, but like just strong man. Guy who's strong,
so
and can fly.
So yeah, because the you know, the bit that the story is built on is like, what if Justice League but fucked up shit, right?
Yeah. Which
also, I mean, that energy is also in the ether right now because of The Boys, you know, and Homelander existing. Yeah. So like, it's interesting that these are both things that got adapted now years later from their original time frames, which were what if evil Justice League. And
yeah, and I'm well aware that like it's kind of a send-uppy. I mean, because like they're called Viltrumites, right?
Yes.
Okay, so they're the mustache people, like literally.
Sure. Yeah.
Because you know that divot on your fucking lip? That's Filtrum.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that. Okay.
It's literally the race of the mustache.
Okay. Okay.
And also, if you have a mustache in an old Cape comic, that meant you were the evil version of the guy.
Clearly. I mean, some of them don't, but most of them do.
But like, yeah, I'm watching footage here. I'm watching Max, and it's the guy who Seth Rogen plays, that's orange.
Alan the Alien.
Invincible, and his dad. And they're all just meat men throwing meat man punches.
Yeah.
Like it's the most boring shit I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, you're not going to get past that thing where when you look at a bunch of these other fighting games, and even, you know, I was kind of trying to like, I was almost like acting this out when I was talking to Reggie about it, but it's like, you have like, any of these, like whether it's looking at Strive, looking at 2XKO, you know, and you know what, I'll even say looking at Net Impact, which is currently on the thing, you're like, a lot of moments of character silhouetting is it being awesome. You have these moments of like a big stylish upside down, Echo's turning upside down and flicking the fucking time winder back at you, you know, and like you have these really just these moments where even if normals and buttons are kind of like snappy because the game is fast, when people are doing special moves and supers and things like that, there's still like a whole like smooth animation to things that kind of like flows, you know. A lot of love is put into that. And when you look at a fan game or a Mugen game that is trying to do like, what if everything versus everything go raw, right, yeah, they kind of struggle from this. They have the same problem of like, Oh, you gave none of these animations any like attention because you just care about how many fucking fast, crazy hits you can land
Yeah.
in one thing. And so that just like you're watching, yeah, we're showing that thing with like Vice versus Ryu or so, and you're kind of like, okay, you just did an air combo, and Vice did like 15 different buttons, and they all were keyframe snaps flashes into each other, and it looks like a raging demon or something like is going off, you know. You got to take a second to think about how cool things look when they happen, and you let things squash and stretch and flow into each other, the impact means more. It took time, I would say, too, for like some of Dragon, because like Killer Instinct, you know, the first season was a lot like gameplay wise and visually stuff, like things improved a lot over time. It got way better towards the end. Watching the way that Ultra Instinct Goku flops and flips around and fucking swags on you all over that game is like exactly what I feel is missing from this, you know?
So I'm glad you brought that up, because as I've been watching this footage, my brain went, I feel like there is more just even visual clarity differences of like watching the characters fight between 3 Gokus or 3 Mortal Kombat ninjas of the old style that were just the same sprite, colored different colors, as I am between the fucking bricks I'm looking at on the screen here.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know how to describe if person is looking, just going, dude, just shit on the shitty game, it sucks, and open ass dump on it. I'm being honest about what I played, and the truth about what I played is it looks like shit. I don't like the visuals. I don't like the fact that the roster has a samey Superman problem. But I also discovered that the gameplay had more going on with it. Thus, I'm going to talk about the good things about what I saw in addition to the bad. I'm going to be honest. I'm not going to lie to you. If you just want to hear me fucking Flanderize everything, then tune into another show, dude. But like,
this is why
I'm gonna be real about it.
You. But this is why I started with like this is on Kirkman. So like, ideally, Telltale would continue to exist, and they would have gotten that kind of thing, or like the folks over at Dispatch would have done that. But like, I guess fighting games are back, that we can now get like lame ass licensed fighters again.
Well, so no, I mean a really solid point here of just like, yeah, the legacy of like the MVCI thing, right? Where Marvel Infinite, it's like, oh, gameplay was fun, but visually it would look like shit. You're like, yep, we're still here. And here's what I'll say is, a game, when you have to fucking monkey's paw it, a game with that looks good but plays like shit will die infinitely faster than the opposite. It'll catch attention initially, but
yeah, it'll sell 10 million copies, and Ed Boon will get to present awards.
But you know, you can look at your net impacts for that. You can look at a random anime fighter of the day, whether it's a My Hero Academia game, a Kill la Kill game, and if you want to fucking start some shit, we can talk about a JoJo fighting game. Right, but
you know, I'm just thinking, if we're gonna get stuff that's like kind of kusoge, can we get stuff more along the lines of like, I remembered something I had to go check, but an X-Men Mutant Academy 2, you can play as Xavier in a wheelchair, and he would do fucking floating spin combos on you.
He would. And then I think the opposite issue is where you have a game that looks bad but has a good thing going on behind it, and now you run into this like Rumbleverse and you know, well, this and the Infinite thing as well, where it's just like, I don't know what you expected. I don't know how to make it sound any other way except like, this thing that has a good quality on it, it bothers me that it's mired in this bad that is upfront on it. But it was genuinely surprising that I was like, oh, I didn't realize that this was going on here, and I can see why some people were going, oh, there's some fun stuff mechanically happening here. So I think what's going to probably happen with this is I think people are going to play it in the community at the very least, for a bit. I think it'll like whatever the rollout is and whatever their support for time frame for it is. It's not like a KI thing where it's direct Microsoft or whatever. This is like Skybound, and they can just choose to be like, okay, we tried, we made our money, or we didn't, we're out. But I think that like at the very least, it's gonna get a season or two of just like people kind of fucking around with it mechanically, because there's stuff going on there, and there are people that like play these that are like looking past that visual problem. But in terms of this being well received at large, or even by the Invincible fan base at large as well, like I don't know, I mean, I think that we're also like fighting game fans and players that are looking for a specific type of thing out of that genre. It's hard to say whether what is being shown here is exciting for someone that doesn't care anything about the genre but just loves Invincible, But I will say that those people showed up and fucking rage quit, and they got their money's worth out of that demo
making
weekend.
A highly technical, like sweat ass tag game for the average TV viewer is maybe a mistake? Because, like, oh man, I love Invincible. I can't wait to play the fighting game. I think like they're going to just die.
If the alternative is some games should be made shallow and bad,
yes.
I'm always gonna say that I prefer a game that I personally find interesting to engage with. I always prefer. I want video games to be released that I enjoy. Personally.
Obviously, but like, do you like there's this is just the 2XKO thing again, right? It's like, do you think that maybe going for the fucking most visually confusing, sweatiest, degenerate form of fighter?
The moment you have to sacrifice the interesting visuals to get there, then that's the thing. Is that a real comparison? Is that a fair thing? Because are we looking at Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, where like, look how fucking sick this looks? Who cares how it feels or plays, right? I don't know, but I can say personally that like, I want the team that made a previous game that I enjoyed to make another game I enjoy. But oh man, is it just not the sum of its parts here? But it did interest me at the very least enough to be like, you know what? When it releases, I'm curious. I want to play Cecil, who is your boy.
Goggins.
Yep. I want to play as him, as normal man with a very expensive tech, keeping up with these supermen, and I want to play as Conquest, who is the Broly of this world. Basically, and I'm curious to see how that feels, because as a fan of those characters, and just the fact that they might feel a little bit different in this type of setup, I'm curious to go in and see if the mechanics are rewarding to me and such. But I don't know that this is gonna like particularly last. I just don't think it's gonna die as fast as something like Nenpak did.
I kind of worry about a injustice issue where, man, look, we do have a varied roster, but all the really good guys are Invincible and his dad and the Worf Battle Beast.
Battle Beast. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if that, like, I was wondering if we were going to see like 15 Invincibles on the character select screen, and at least with this demo so far, they haven't shown that to be the case. So,
shouldn't that be the assists for
Angstrom? Yeah.
Yakub,
yes. Yakub will show up and have all his assists.
He should play like Garganos and have the Invincibles come out of portals.
So that could be a really interesting character to design gameplay wise if they commit to it, and I hope they do. I would also love to see. There's some fun, if you know the lore, there's some fun picks in there. There's the Invincible equivalent of Doctor Strange is a character called Seance Dog. and
Okay.
it's like, what if Doctor Strange in the world of Invincible, he reads a comic called Seance Dog, and it's just Doctor Strange as a dog casting spells and being
right.
your best friend, you know. And like there's a I guess the reveal to that in the story, there's a twist to it that would be super fun as well if they included that in the character. You know, I would love to see a Seance Dog, and then you could have some characters that are like quirky weirdo picks that could be fun with it. But anyway, that's what's up with this, right? It's just another contender to the Marvel throne is around, and I wasn't super excited to get into this demo. I wasn't planning on jumping in initially, but I left with an eyebrow raised, going like, okay, you're cooking something. You're cooking something. But yeah, I also do think too that if you have a game where you're looking at a very similar looking roster, you got to go extra hard in making all of their animations and all of the way they move and everything they do really unique. You got to double and triple down on that aspect, you know? But that's it.
What if? No.
Okay. Well, sure. Also,
how's the rage quitting?
Yeah. I mean, I collected at least 2 or 3. It's quite fun to just pop on and be like, okay, some folks are here that, you know, this is not their genre and they're here to play their characters. And
no, it's their genre. You're just playing like a bitch.
You're the only way to play the game with other people besides training mode is to go into ranked online. You can't engage in any other way. So everyone is forced into this situation, and motherfuckers are just getting salt as fuck.
You know,
super mad.
That's smart. Actually, I just realized they skipped out on the animation in the fighting game to make it more accurate to them skipping out on the animation in the show.
When the animation's bad in the show, it's an homage to those moments, right?
Yeah.
I didn't piece that together. Yeah, you don't even have to be sweaty to get a rage quit online. If you grab
man, that's awesome, kind of.
If you just grab a character and do like fucking light, medium, heavy, launch, light, medium, heavy, super a bunch of times, and then they die, you'll watch your fucking game freeze up, and then you'll get spit back out to the lobby or whatever. Like, you know, people are out here just like, and it's just, yeah, it's funny because when you rage quit in a beta, it's like, it's extra bitch for sure, because it's the consequences are not even lasting in any remote way, shape,
yeah, but if
you're
top 20, you get to be in the credits.
Oh, right. And that's where Diaphone was fucking raging hard, because it's like this dude that's number 1 is just rage quitting on everybody.
Everybody that's gonna beat him.
There's no fix to this. You can just make the game punish the quitter harder. You can make fun of them. You can make their head explode, put them in rage quit jail, etc. But it doesn't, in terms of like, oh, what can we do to? You can't. People hate losing. It feels bad, and they're just going to, you know. They're just going to do it every time. It's an
internet problem, because if you did this if you did this at a pool hall or a soccer field, you would be socially ostracized till the end of your days. You know, you would, that no one would ever forget. Hey, you remember that time you threw a tantrum like a baby and fucking threw the ball down the fucking lane
and ran away? Yeah. This is, you know, there's no accounting for it. And I've heard people talking about they're yearning for the days of yore on, you know, Call of Duty and such, where you'd be like, I loved getting on and getting toxic on mic. That was how I got the stress out after I got home from work and school every day. You know, it was like, this is what games are to me. They are a means to be toxic.
Do you know what people don't talk about with that level of toxicity? With those old Call of Duty games? I played those games during the height of their peak toxicity, and one of the things that they don't talk about is that rage quitting is a problem in those games too.
In everything, I'm sure. Yes.
Hey, it's 6-on-6. Did you guys win the first engagement? Cool. Did you lose the very first clash? 3 people left.
Yeah.
Okay, enjoy running out the clock, getting stomped out.
I can remember tons of Overwatch matches where that last slot on our team, the game was looking to find somebody to fill it because we did one engagement and lost it, and the person just left. And, you know, they're like, oh, we're looking for a replacement, but good luck.
You know, my favorite thing is about this kind of thing. Hey, I'd like to quick match. I'd like to quit match. Okay, I've been loaded in. I'm loading into 6 minutes to go, and I'm replacing a guy who left. Can't leave fast enough. I'm not picking this shit up off the fucking dirt. Fuck you. Fuck you for putting me into this bullshit.
Also enjoy the mark on your fucking record as a result too. I will say, like, for Marvel Rivals, like, super awesome that for anyone who disconnects unintentionally, you literally fucking turn your computer back on and load the game back up, and it's like, you're cool, you can rejoin. You can rejoin ranked matches that are still underway if you accidentally disconnect from them for any unintentional reason.
Yeah, I've had power go out and just get right back in.
That's awesome. Love that part. But
this reminds me
that ain't a rage quit.
In 14, you know, you'll queue up to do like a dungeon or something, and there's an option in there that says, do you want to fill? Right? Do you want to matchmake for people who have dropped? And matchmaking for fill is a devil's gamble, because you can like you can fill in and people are at the end of whatever they're about to do, and somebody just disconnected. And you walk in and you spend 4 minutes and you get all the rewards that you would do for 60 minutes. Or you'll fill in and it is 70 minutes into a 10-minute thing. And you're like, oh, this is actually unwinnable. This, like, these guys just can't do it. And then you're like, well, I'm going to just leave and I'm going to take my fucking 30-minute penalty. I don't give a shit. Good luck on the next guy to fill for you.
And now you're talking about the ethical reason to rage quit as opposed to
because there's the moment. There's the moment. So a standard dungeon in FF14 gives you 90 minutes to complete. They take 16. Okay? That's a pretty big fucking gap. Sometimes you'll fill in and 70 minutes will have elapsed, and you'll go, oh, and you'll do the poll and you're like, oh, this is just not going to fucking happen. All right. What's your step? Vote abandon. So everyone does the vote, and then you all leave, right? And then the guy who is always the problem, always, invariably, the guy who's the worst or who won't listen goes, nah, man, we can do it. I ain't leaving.
Right. Yeah. I wasn't actually going to linger this long on this game to begin with. I was going to just mention it, a couple things, and move on. But if we're on it and going here, then the only other thing I have to say is, like, when it comes to rage quitting, because it's such an inherent thing with just the nature of online gaming with people, you will never solve this problem. So all you can do is do all the punishments for the person who does it, and just design your game that it can withstand someone being a huge baby pooping their diaper, and then making the game go, okay, someone threw a tantrum and was a huge baby and they pooped their diaper, so you win, and it's okay. We don't shut the game down and go, oh, we don't know what happened, it's over. No. Somebody quit. We detected that. We know what happened. Okay, it's cool. You won. They lost. Whatever. Right? Just allow the game to elegantly handle that thing, because I think it's Mortal Kombat that, like, their head explodes as soon as they rage quit.
Yeah, their head explodes.
Right. So if you did that, it wouldn't be as annoying, because it wouldn't be like that low tier god style, you ain't getting my fucking points. You know, it wouldn't be this thing of like, you actually nullified the whole game we played, and now, like, you won by being a huge baby, right? You would at least make it that the person who did that takes their penalty, and if their ego is whatever, then let them do what they need to do. But the person who was on the other end, the game should be robust enough to handle this type of thing now. That's the only thing you can do. It feels really silly that we're in a situation where that's still being addressed. And I know a big part of it is games with like high response time. Like, you know, you want to have direct character player to player connections and everything with the rollback shit, etc. It makes it harder to have a server side verification of what exactly happened. But we know that it is possible. So just in any game, in any genre, if someone rage quits or disconnects, allow the person who's playing to not have their whole experience nullified as a result. And I'm fine with it, you know?
You know, a game I never encountered a rage quitter in once was the burst version of Strive. And in my heart of hearts, the reason why that is because it took so long to get back into matchmaking.
Oh my God. Okay.
That no one was willing to rage quit.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Because it could take like 10 minutes to get back in.
Right. Okay.
So you'd be like,
you alt F4 out, and then you got to sit there and stare at that fucking Strive. Yeah, checking your R code. Or how about chess? Because you just forfeit the match in handshake, right? Like that's what that is.